but I can't see a thing for us inside. When we died, we tried to make us a home, but watched it crumble from its fall. I really hate to leave you, girl, but I'm so tired of the life we're living, so tired of the things we've been doing. I really hate to leave you, girl. So tired of the life we've been living, of the life we've been living, of the things we've been doing. So tired of the life we've been living, so tired of the things we've been doing. I really hate to leave you, girl.
Okay, this is 95.9 FM. 95.9 FM on your radio dial, GHCR.NYC. And we're broadcasting live here from our studios on Amsterdam Avenue at the foothills of Morningside Park. And as you can see, we're setting up for, take it. Yeah, we're setting up so that we can, shoot Mr. And I don't mean that personally. We're going to shoot Mr. Thornton, and we're going to be talking about their interview. About basketball and some other stuff. So, they're setting up. Of course, like some other people who come here, sometimes they bring their own cameras with them, and so they're going to try to set something up. Now we're also broadcasting live on our YouTube channel. So if anybody wants to see this interview later, they can go to our YouTube channel and they can see Chucky and David, and all they have to do is type in live at Grant, and they will be able to see what's going on. So we're going to do a little quick on the air. By the way, we're going to do a little mic check and get everybody thinking. So put on your headphones, man. Let's put on the headphones. Chuck, let me get a little mic check there, Chucky.
This is a 1-2, checking out with you. How we gonna do?
Okay, Chucky. Go ahead, do it again, Chuck.
This is a 1-2 on the mic.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good. Go ahead, David.
How it sound?
Do it, David.
1 2 1 2 1 2. Testing the mic. 1 2.
Okay,
How
good.
that sound?
So we good.
Good man.
All right, so we good. So we're here with David Thornton, who's Grant's own. Resident, and they've come. He's come here today to talk about some stuff that basketball, and of course he's a member of Grant Housing. He's a resident here who grew up here. So of course we always like to help those who are from here do their thing. And that's what Dave's doing again. Hey, Dave, picking your mic again, Dave?
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
No, do it again.
Testing 1 2.
There you go.
Yeah,
Chucky,
now we live.
Do it again, Chucky.
Hey, testing live.
Okay, Chucky.
Yes.
Okay, so and then of course he's got his guy Al. What's his name? What's that dude?
Al Fletchman.
He's got his guy Al Fletchman. He's the cameraman who actually we hear him talking a lot of shit. So. He ain't got no fucking headphones, so he don't know what the fuck we say.
Yeah.
Fixing this fucking
ain't that something? Yeah.
Big Al.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway, like I said, this is GHCR.NYC 95.9 FM on here at Grand Houses, and we are they're setting up technically. I think they're trying to give out some headphones so he can make sure that the sound's working on at least one of the cameras. I don't know how he's going to find out about the second camera, but for those who don't know, the big tall guy that you see sitting in there in the blue is, of course, one of my basketball pals and friends, Mr. Charles Baldwin, who I would say Charlie and I go back, thousands of days. We go back thousands of days, both a lot of on the court, and we've had a lot of on the court activity. But I just want to say this right quick, Charlie, before you get started. You on the air? Okay. So anyway, I want to say this before we get started, before you guys get started. Over the many games that we played, both together and against each other, Charlie, I remember one particular. I was thinking about this. I remember one day we were practicing, and of course, Charlie, you was a very noble and great shot blocker. And I remember we were playing in practice one day, and I was coming down on the break, and you were back there, and of course, I wouldn't dare challenge you. And I remember pulling up for a jump shot, and you came over to block it at the free throw line, and I shot it with my left hand, and it actually, I had never did that before, and I made sure I didn't say anything to you after it happened. And I just always remember that one particular move because I thought that was a shot I made against the great Charlie Baldwin.
That was your pinnacle.
That was everybody has their little things they remember when they do something against a particularly great player, and never mind all the shots that I've seen you make in all the games that we played together with that wonderful jump shot of yours. So I remember that. Now, Mr. Thornton,
Yes,
I
sir.
remember when he came into the league, jumping all around and everything, and I remember saying, "Who's that guy?" He's jumping and flying all over the place. We was going, "Who's he? Where's he from?" And then we found out he's from the Grant Houses. But so I'm happy on behalf of Grant Houses to have both of you guys, particularly Charlie, here in the studio as you conduct your interview. And simultaneously, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are watching us over on our YouTube channel, Dave is also a filmmaker, and he's making his own film.
Well, I'm trying to give acknowledgement to a lot of the great basketball players, but especially the ones that didn't get acknowledgement.
Did you hear that voice? To that
So-
voice, yo.
Yeah, it is
Go a
kind
little
of.
closer to the mic, Charlie.
It is kind.
Okay.
Al, are you ready?
Yeah, he's ready. He's rolling. He's rolling. He's rolling, Dave.
Okay. Are we on?
Yeah, we on. Let's go.
Growing up in Grand Projects in the 60s and the 70s, especially in the 70s, there was a lot of competition within the surrounding area. I played against Charlie several times, but we played with one another many times. I'm going to jump right into the Pelham Fritz Basketball League, if that's okay, and I just want to chop it up for time's sake. Mr. Baldwin,
Yes, sir, my brother.
are you with me, Al?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to come back to that.
Go ahead.
What I'm going to do is,
Go through-
Charlie, we want to talk about the Pelham Fritz Basketball League, and I do understand that when it started, it was a league 40 and over guys just to stay in shape. The level of competition was moderate, with the exception of Doug Frazier, because I know were you playing in the Pelham Fritz Basketball League?
I came in with Charlie.
Came in with Charlie, okay.
In fact, I got in the league because they were so afraid of Charlie that I got in a year before I was supposed to, because when we all played within the same draft, and they had a big controversy over Charlie because he was such a player who was going to change somebody's fortune, and he can tell you later how many championships he played on. So they saw Charlie, and they thought about Charlie, and I actually got drafted in the second round.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I got drafted in the second round because they was worried about Charlie. Charlie came in the next year.
Okay.
And he proceeded to do what they were afraid. That they was afraid of.
They said let's see what Doug do, and hopefully Charlie will follow right.
Well, I was out of shape. I was out of shape. Charlie, you were in shape, Charlie. I was out of shape, Charlie. So I didn't do nothing for 2 years in there. Or some
But
shit.
Charlie couldn't take no shots out the corner if in the bathhouse.
But when we moved out of there, you showed him what time it was. In fact, Charlie was the only guy in that league that I saw who had stopped playing for a while, and he came back, and they let Charlie play in the All-Star game. That's how good Charlie was.
Well, just for the record, I'm going to interview Charlie.
Go ahead.
I'm going to find out exactly how he and when he came in to the Pelham Fritz League and who was the first team he played for, et cetera, et cetera. But Charlie.
Yeah, I'll be out today.
There's a lot going on right now, and I'm just trying to keep it in sync. How many years it took you to come into the Pelham Fritz Basketball League, Charlie?
Well, I would say about 6, 7. It was a long time. Maybe I wasn't ready for the Pelham Fritz Basketball League, but I was always ready to play basketball. So.
I know that, and you had a great career. However, as Doug stated, at the time the draft came up, you were highly talented than some of the guys that were playing in there already. So they were a little fearful of you coming in and just taking over, which I did. I remember when I came in.
Taking over? No, it was just it was recreation. I just came to do my thing. That's all. I was happy to have a chance to do something like that on a Sunday. It was a good thing.
Beautiful league.
Yes, it was.
What before you came in there? What had you heard about the Pelham Fritz Basketball League?
Well, the guys had always wanted to play. Me to play with them, and I enjoyed playing. And it was a great, thing to be around. The camaraderie was really the thing, and.
So you come in the league, and the first team you played for, I believe you said, was the Lakers.
Yes.
And who was coaching at that time?
Oh, that was Pickles Murphy.
Pickles Murphy.
My man, Pickles
Murphy.
And his assistant was, I think Bob McCullough was the assistant. He was he was second in, no, he was in charge, and Pickles was running the show.
Okay.
Yeah, and hey.
Well, okay, well, let's just go to it. What type of numbers were you putting up? You started, of course. They were fearful. I was like, how many did you wait? But where were you at, Doug, at the time he was on the Lakers?
Well, you got to remember that Charlie led the league in scoring. I did it 1 year. Charlie must have did it for 5 years.
Ain't that something?
Yeah, he came in. He was gangbusters, man, with that jumper, man. He's terrible.
And that's why I said taking over.
Well, I have to say one thing, that you have to take this for just how it is. When Doug Frazier got the ball, it was like throwing it into the black hole. So
such a jokester.
When it came out, I mean, seek and ye shall find. But that was the thing, man. I remember once Doug put up 53 one night.
Yeah, we were in the 50. We were in the 50-point club.
And
we were
in
that.
And me, you, and our boy Otto.
Otto, right? We were the only 3 guys that scored over 50.
I hated to play.
Everybody hated Otto. We all hated him.
I loved him. His brother and I went to school, Eddie Graham.
Oh, okay.
Douglas, and we were very
hated
close.
him, man.
Good dude, man. Who you were playing with? He was with the Lakers.
I played the Celtics. I played the Celtics, man. We had a good team, yeah.
Celtics.
Yeah, Celtics. And Charlie was a Lakers, so we had the natural. But Charlie, we played on we played on the national team as well, because we had a national team that Charlie played that. This Pelham Fritz League became so good that we all stopped traveling and just played in the Pelham Fritz. That's how good that league. All the players started showing up at the Pelham Fritz League, and we didn't have to travel around the country anymore because everybody showed up.
And that's really...
And Charlie was really, the great jump shooter, great pick setter. He was lying about the black hole thing. And and he was a great shot blocker where you had to really respect him because of his wingspan? I don't know what's your wingspan, Charlie? Do you know?
No, I don't, because I don't fly no more.
Oh, because I got my wingspan checked, and I found out that has a wingspan of somebody 6'3". You know, I'm just barely 6 feet, and you got to have the wingspan of somebody at least 6'8" or 6'9". And how tall are you, by the way?
Well, I'm about
basketball wise, not
6'7".
6'7". So you had to have at least a 6'10" wingspan because you got some long ass arms and big ass hands, man.
One of the
And
things, not just to interject and piggyback off what you're talking about, one of the things you remember my mentor, William Hines.
shotgun.
yes.
And if you read, he wrote 2 books,
Yes, he did.
and in there he referred to Charlie's wingspan.
Okay, yeah, he had it.
You know, and the other thing he referred to was your side, shooting from the side.
Oh man.
And the bathhouse kind of restricted him.
But not when we moved to Harlem Square Garden. He was good. He was good money then. He was good money, Jack. And in fact, if he was we were teenagers then, the 3-point shot from the corner NBA Charlie would been had a mansion. He'd have made a living of it. He was probably like 20 years ahead of his time.
Let's move it forward for time purposes. And Doug, while you were playing with the Celtics, you're playing with Gus Williams. You're playing with Darryl Rockwaller, right?
No, Darryl wasn't.
He wasn't with you there?
No, he wasn't on.
Who'd you have?
He was on the Bulls.
But he was in the league.
He was in the league.
And eventually he did
It
come
was
to the
Gus,
Celtics.
Mike Van, Chuck, they had all the NBA guys there. But Chuck, but again, like I said, Chuck and all, we all played together.
Exactly.
But when we got into the Permafist, everybody was able to do their individual thing, and that's when you start to see how good everybody was. Charlie was a very fearless shot blocker.
Oh,
Everybody's
man.
afraid of him.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
You had to go you had to get inside. You had to be respectful of him,
Who'd you hate to play against?
Charlie. Charlie. I like playing with Charlie. I love playing with him. But I ain't like playing with him because you had to be, you had to be respectful.
Well, because who was your nemesis, so to speak? Who you hate to play against in the Permafist Basketball League?
Nobody. He wasn't scared of nobody.
Well, I just liked playing.
See?
I really would just. Why couldn't you let this guy play where he wanted to play? I wanted to be a guard, a shooting guard. That's all.
And you was. And you were.
But I wasn't like.
Well, not with the Lakers. They wouldn't. They was trying to hold you back.
Yeah, that was.
They was trying to hold you back a little bit.
They did.
Yeah, they was trying to hold you back.
They did. But that's okay.
'Cause they wanted him to be on the team and do what they wanted him to do.
Well, Carl Crump coaching? No, Pickens Murphy.
Now you're going down the road. Slowly I turn.
There I
Now
go.
Carl Crump was somebody I used to relish in trying to annihilate because he was more my size. I would try to annihilate his behind respectfully.
Of course.
Respectfully.
I get the eras mixed up, but did you play with Stanley Lamb, of course? No.
On my way out,
Yeah.
Stanley was coming in.
Yeah, he played with us on the national team though.
He did.
Yeah, he did. He was something else, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he was something else, man.
I'll never
Big
forget it.
Smitties, man.
And, I heard he was...
Hey, he's not as good as you because he was smaller, right? But he was a good small forward, and he took Gus' place.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he got into your head. He used the psychology well.
Oh, right, yeah, he was good. He was a great talker.
And off the court,
He was
nicest guy you
Great
ever
guy,
met. Yeah.
great guy. But on the court,
Yeah,
you want to punch him in his
that's right.
effing face.
That's right. And many, well, I didn't have any heated arguments. I barely talked to you. I just did
Yeah,
whatever.
me neither. I ain't talking.
Who were some of the other guys you were playing with while you were at the Lakers, Charlie Baldwin?
I had a good time always with Leroy Shore. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, really. Because me and Leroy go back. We went back to college. He was at
Midwestern?
Midwestern, and
Right.
I was at Cameron. Yeah.
Yeah.
JC.
Him and Ike DeVore.
Ike DeVore.
Yeah, the preacher man.
Yeah, I played in the league too, didn't he?
No.
No, that wasn't it?
No,
Oh,
no.
I was like something else. Right, I'm sorry.
Wichita Falls.
Wichita Falls. I was in Lawton.
I was there.
Oh, wow.
Lawton.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fort Sill.
Oh.
Actually, my freshman year, my first scrimmage game was against Midwestern. And my second was against you guys, Cameron.
Leroy was one of the best going right guys all the time that you ever, and a great Remember the game plan against Leroy. I remember the game plan against Leroy is why are you leaving somebody who will kill you when you leave him alone?
Oh, yes.
Why would you be leaving him? We know somebody guy would be on and be leaving Leroy to go help off with somebody, like just try to go help on Charlie. What you helping on Charlie for? It didn't make any sense. You wasn't going to stop Charlie from doing nothing, and you leaving Leroy open.
To do something.
Thank you. And he was a killer he killed the Invisible Man. He was a killer by himself.
Isn't it a story or something with Leroy not showing to a championship game?
Oh, there you go, bringing up Carl Crump now. Slowly
I turn
step by step.
Crook by crook.
Hey, man.
Yeah, he might be watching. Yeah, you gotta be
please,
respectful.
Carl, you know.
We saw him at Zach's funeral. But remember, Carl was one of those guys who was a real aggressive player when he played with Milbank. So by the time we got in there, everybody knew who he was, and people was busy trying to give him the business.
Wait a minute. He wasn't that aggressive because I played for Milbank Juniors, and that team, Pee Wee, Kirkland, Cliff Moeller.
Cliffy. Uncle Cliffy. He played in the Pelican Fritz, by the way.
Yeah, Cliff did.
Cliff was on the Lakers.
The Lakers?
He was on the Lakers.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, when I came, he was going because he was doing that insurance thing in Nebraska.
Yeah, right.
Going to get his master's out from Nebraska.
He was a tough guy.
Tough
What-
guy. We beat him in high school, too.
Oh, you did? What high school you went to?
Taft.
When did you? I know we went over to the Derby All-Star Classic after we winded down at Pelham Fritz, and I think we kind of went over there at the same time. I was 49-50. Before I ask you this question, you played on 3 teams. After you left the Lakers, who'd you play for?
I went to the Magic.
Magic.
And they drafted, traded, and all of that good stuff for you?
Yeah.
Pons was the coach, and me, Leroy Shaw. Now that's what.
And y'all won the championship when y'all went over there.
Oh, they were following me, huh?
That's right. They followed you around.
Oh yeah.
Getting their money's worth.
Oh, he's one of the biggest winners in that place. Him and Leroy. Leroy, they must have had 6 or 7 championships or something.
Oh, man.
They was really something else.
Wow.
Yeah, they were really, Charlie, man, listen, in order for us to beat them, we had to go get Mike Benton, Gus, and the only person they didn't get off the big team was Ray Williams.
Williams, yeah.
He wouldn't come and play.
Yeah.
But that's what it took to beat Charlie. He was that good. He was that aggressive of a player, that prolific jump shooter, and shot blocker, particularly from the weak side stuff. I'm reading the scouting report on Charlie.
He was a sneak.
You wasn't no sneak.
Oh, well,
You had to watch
Yeah.
it. Low Hill was a sneak.
Oh,
That was a sneak. People knew where you were. They were going, I remember I would come down and go, "Where's Charlie?"
Low Hill. That's my man.
That was a sneak. He was a sneak.
I have a story. I'll come back maybe towards the end, but Low Hill, man, I have a great story with him.
Yeah, what an aggressive guy.
He was.
Maniac aggressive.
I wouldn't have mind playing for him.
I played for him for like 2 games.
It's pretty good.
So I retired.
Yeah. The Knicks, of course.
Yeah, I got traded to them, and then I played like 1 game against the Celtics, and I retired. It was over. It was over. So, but he was a great guy, great talker, great teammate. Would do anything to win. Didn't care about scoring. I remember him saying one day, when he was a coach, he said he'd been in the locker room. He said before the game, this is a pregame talk. Men, before we leave the building, wipe the blood off your knives. That was his idea of a pregame talk.
Yes.
I'll never forget that.
Yes.
Make sure you wipe the blood off your knives when we leave the building. This is what he would say before the game. Fine.
and the Knicks was a good team too.
Great team.
Neil, that was my boy.
Oh my God.
Superman.
Superman.
Neil Woodard.
Neil
God
Woodard.
bless.
Yeah, R.I.P. baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
dynamite.
We were that's an emotional. I can't really talk about that, but yes, he was a good dude. I've known him. We had a great friendship. But playing against him and knowing him, Charlie, why was he a good dude? I mean,
Because he was sincere. He would do whatever Lowell said do, he would do. He would do. He was a team player.
He was a rebounder though, Charlie.
Oh, yes, he was.
He was big and strong. He was a rebounder, and he complimented Charlie because then Charlie could do his little sneaky shot blocking shit, while Neil would do all the. He was a dirty work guy. He did all the little dirty work.
One of the things.
Until Running John, then Running. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Running
John Marks.
John Marks, man. Wow, what a player. What a.
Yeah.
Love it.
Never get tired.
Never.
Running
Still
John.
today. Still today.
Disgusting.
Running
Yeah.
John.
He was disgusting. You hated him.
But one of the things about the Knicks is their camaraderie. They had Bird.
Yes.
They had Low Hill.
They had
John.
Yeah.
And there was other cats who filled
Ivan.
Ivan Donovan.
Donovan.
You know, they had a good camaraderie
Yes,
off
they
the
did.
court. You know,
Yes, they
and
did.
that's how they blended. Did you ever play for the Bulls?
I did.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but I didn't play any games. I played with them one time, one year in the summer. That's when they was the grave diggers.
Who's in the house? No,
The grave diggers.
You weren't part of that.
I was part of the summer. I played in the summer league. I played on their summer league team one year, and they were the grave diggers. And so I got a lot of buckets because they got mad. They didn't think I could pass like I could.
There was a lot of great players that came through Pelicans. A lot.
That's what the thing that made that league great was you just couldn't invite yourself to be in the league.
Well, I
I
thought-
think that's what made the difference, Charlie. I don't know.
You know, you got a good point. I thought about it, there was Bear, the Big Bear.
Philip Upshaw,
Oh man, Luther Green, Sally.
Sally,
Oh man,
was a-
Richard Russell,
Richard Russell, Ooh.
Wiley.
Wiley.
Yo.
Oh,
Chuck.
Chuck. Oh, he got hit. He died in the car crash.
Yeah.
Chuck Wiley.
Well, I have a
Jump
whole
ship.
list of them.
Chuck was Richard, man, he died too. Right, Richard was
Richard
really
Russell.
boy. He was really a dynamite player. He was not nemesis. He was a pain in the ass. I hated him.
Don't forget, there were guys like Joe Dumas.
I hated him. Well, I had to practice against him he was terrible. I hated him.
Yes.
Hated him. So most of the people that are good you hate.
The
And then Hate to Love.
No, not you, Chucky. No. Because we played together. I had a lot of respect for you because I thought you was a, professional caliber basketball player, period. And there was no denying that you had the size. And like I said, if you was around today, man, we'd be sitting in Chuck's mansion right now. If he was around, because he had the size, he had the game, he had the whole package. But, the NBA wasn't what it is today.
it wasn't.
Yeah, so I remember telling Gus that he probably left $10 million on the table because he was born too soon.
I can definitely go down the list because I played a little bit longer, and
Yeah.
with some guys that came in right before those EBC cats like Future and Master Rob and them.
Yeah,
However, during our days, there were the Roger Gibbs.
Roger. Yeah, I heard he died.
Yeah, he passed
Yeah, I heard he died.
Oh my
I
goodness.
remember the great thing about I don't remember, child. We played a game in Asbury Park, and somehow or another, at the end of the game, they disallowed a shot that somebody made. I ain't gonna say no names. And we went in the locker room, and Roger came in the locker room screaming and yelling. And he was over there. He was yelling at me, and I was sitting on the bench, and everything was cool. And next thing I know, I seen Roger balling up his fist, and he was standing right over me, with his fist balled up. So I had to get up and mush him in his face because I was like, Roger's getting ready to hit me. And everybody came over and grabbed me. I said, why y'all grabbing me? Y'all should be. They all came and grabbed Roger. I said, why y'all grabbing Roger? Y'all should be grabbing me. I'm the one that's going to bust him in his face. And it was like, Roger was that kind of a guy. They couldn't even hit him. I had to mush him. I couldn't even hit. You couldn't hit Roger. Then I had to go and apologize to Roger for doing that. And I always remember this about Roger: substitution. That's how he would come in the game. Substitution. Substitution.
Oh my goodness.
What was that about? Yeah.
Listen.
You just reminded me of another story. We go into a game, and we're waiting to get the uniforms from Roger. And the uniforms at Roger House. We on the game, got a road game. And, be ringing Roger Bell, nobody said it. And Allen, remember Allen Johnson?
Alan Johnson.
So Allen Johnson just gets out the thing and goes, yo, Roger. And then Roger goes, is that you, Allen? After we was outside for a half an hour because, so he was tight with Allen.
Yes.
And
Allen
that
was with the Bulls.
Allen was with the Bulls.
Bulls.
No, that was
That's right.
How about a good? Was that a good player?
Yeah.
Well, you couldn't find very many players in that league who started who weren't very, very,
good.
very good. You just couldn't.
Very
That was the interesting about the thing about the league there, Pyle. I had to say, if there was something unique about the league, most of the players in there were very, very, very good players.
very good.
Very good. And the competition was super high level.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And
It
for
was
time
incredible.
purposes, I can go down the list from your era to mine.
Go down the list, man. Go down the list while we got
Everybody
time.
from Tony Lopez to
Left-handed.
Marcus Gathers to Wild Wild West Carrera
Oh,
to
he's
Corky
Corky.
to Bird to the shot blocker Future Mo Better Black.
Mo Better.
Mo Better. Joe Lewis, Clark Ellie,
Joe Clarkey.
Dumars.
Clarkey played with the Suns. Him
That's
and
right.
what about his team? What
Hammer.
about? I was going to say.
Hammer.
That's right.
What about the Hammer?
The
That's right.
Hammer.
The Hammer was the only guy I knew, Pi, who would argue with the ref, and at the end of the game, he still had 30. And you couldn't foul him because he was a
couldn't.
dynamite free throw
You
shooter.
couldn't.
He was a dynamite Hammer.
Arnold Duggar, Keith
Arnold.
Bryson, Hammer,
I just said
Steve Burt.
Stevie.
But
But
here's
they all
the-
came in later, right, Charlie?
Here's the
Much
ones.
later, man.
Here's the ones that were very, very part of Pelham Fritz that passed away. And I've named most of them, but the biggest one is Zach Hustle.
Oh, man.
Zach.
That was something else, man. I remember when it was, I just accidentally happened to call him, and his wife picked up the phone and said, "You know that fool is dead." I thought she was kidding, and I remember saying to her, I said, "Why would he do that?" That was the first time I ever said that about somebody. You know, he was one of those guys you would say. He made me say when he died. I remember saying to his wife, "Why would he go and do that? Why would he do that?" Never expected that from him. And he was the commissioner of the league, by the way.
He was. He was. Not only that, my question to you or Charlie, because we all knew Zach, and he
great
was the guy. True black man. This is what we got to do. We got to get the kids together. We got to, he was the
Yeah.
community guy. He was the
Yes, he
family
was.
guy. He was
Yes,
the.
he was.
The guy to give you advice
Yes, he
on
was. He did everything
life
right.
and love.
He did
and
everything right.
He did. So, how instrumental was he in your life, Charlie Baldwin?
Oh man, Zach was A plus man. He
Yeah.
was really, he was a good person.
He was
a
a great
guy
person.
that never played in Pelham Fritz, but out of that 640 Riverside was Hayward Dodson.
Yeah.
And Zach and Hayward and my man Mohead, Henry Hutchins.
Mohead.
Oh yes, we hung in the summers, real tough. Chico was someone that could tell you about Zach. Zach was a good man. Zach.
He was a great. You know the funny thing about Zach that I remember the most is that here's a guy who did everything right. He went to Columbia. He came from he was a square from Delaware. He came up here. He went to Columbia. He got him a job. He stayed on the job till he retired. He put his 2 kids through college. He worked in the community. He did every fucking thing right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you can't even bring him nothing other than if you gave him your email, he was giving it to everybody. He was giving it to everybody. But that was the only thing you could say bad about him, that he thought that if you gave him his email, that he thought he should share it with the world.
Did you,
Our boy Rod Wiley, the
Chuck?
the football player.
Oh, okay.
That was the guy that he just fell in love, gave the women the rings, and didn't give one them back and get mad. He was Zach was his advisor. Like,
Wow.
oh, man, Delaware State. Yeah, and he was a Q.
He was a Q.
He was
He
a
was
Q.
definitely a Q.
But they were late, man.
Yeah.
They don't remember.
Charlie, were you in one of those?
Who was first? Wasn't it Alpha?
You was a Q?
I'm an Alpha man.
Oh, Alpha, wow.
The Alpha man.
Wow. They let
No.
you in there? How'd that happen?
Had that J, baby.
Oh.
Shot that J.
Oh boy, did you have that J? Oh my God.
Hey,
I ain't never seen anybody block your shot. Has anybody blocked your shot? Who blocked your shot? I've never seen them. Did you ever see anybody block your shot, Dave?
Oh, no.
Not really.
Not that I can recall.
Not in prime time. I ain't
Not
never
that I
seen
can
when you was in the
recall.
prime.
maybe when I was sleeping. Maybe.
Maybe. I just want to tell you this. I got to tell you this quick story before we wrap up. There was the one time the coach was talking to me and Lou and talking to me and Gus, and the coach looked at me and said, "Frazier, I don't want you to shoot the ball unless you are open. And I looked at the coach and I said, I'm open when I leave my crib.
Yeah.
And I know that's you too, Charlie.
I come here open.
Right. And then I looked at Gus and I said, how about you, Gus? He said, yeah. The coach never said nothing to me the rest of the year. Don't never ask a shooter, all right, don't shoot unless you're open. Never do that.
I ain't never seen a
Kilgore
shot
played
that I
well
didn't
in
like.
Tyler Classic.
Go ahead, Charlie. I'm sorry, man.
I would say I ain't never seen a shot that I didn't like.
Oh, I know that.
You know, like
I know that.
you know, I always think about Roberto Clemente, his famous saying, "This sport is very, very good to me."
That's what I'm saying, Charlie. I mean, you know, to me, if you was playing today, Charlie, I'm saying first round pick, easy. You know what I mean? Because you had all of the skills, all of the shots. You had every shot that anybody could think of. You could dunk it. You was fast. You could run. You had big hands. You was quick. And I like to play with you because I could play pick and roll with you, even though I was a one-on-one player. But I could pick and roll with you. If you was hot, I knew who to throw the ball to. And I knew that if somebody happened to get by me, which I didn't think happened a lot, you would be doing your sneaky, I block that shit.
Got that.
Figure, yeah. You know the guy who I tell you who remind me of the NBA, the eye blocker guy from Toronto, but I think his jump shot's better than his. You know what's the big? No, the big guy from Toronto,
Sabaka, the African brother?
the African dude.
Sabaka.
That's his name.
Something with an S.
Sabaka, yeah, the shot blocker guy.
Yeah.
I would say Charlie. He reminds me a lot of Charlie's game. You know, he had the jumper. Because he's got the jumper. He gets a rebound every now and then. He blocks shots, and he ain't afraid of shit. And I would say that's you, Charlie.
My cousin called me up from North Carolina and told me that the kid from Duke, he thought that was me.
Which one?
You know, the one with the Lakers.
Oh! I know you're talking about the guy with all the tattoos.
No, Irving, the one from Duke.
The one they traded.
Yeah, they traded.
He plays with New Orleans now. You talking about that guy?
What's his name? Irving, Ingram.
Oh yeah, Ingram.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but you know, I think he's better than him because he, you know, last year he got on my fucking nerves, man.
Here's one for you. This guy asked me. He said, "You look like Marcus Camby." I said, "No way. I'm old enough to be Marcus Camby's father. You look like me."
Yeah, that's true. Good point. That's a good point. But I would have to say Ingram did the ball handling. You know, he might go a little left more than you did, a little bit more than you. But other than that, I would say yeah. And then he likes to get into the inside, into the lane and shoot and all that stuff. And you didn't have to do all that. You would get in the corners, and you could basically, you know, somebody would drop off you, and you would like, you know, give them the business. So, I'm sorry, Mike.
We had a lot of great basketball players that came through the Pelham Fritz Basketball League. Some had professional careers, some had great college careers. However, there's a thing that I implemented into my documentary called Life After Basketball.
Is that the name of the documentary?
No.
Oh. Sorry, Dave. You're going to say the name for our viewers.
Well, actually, where we're at, what's today's date? The 13th, 14th? The 13th? We're at General Grant Houses, and we're putting this interview together so that we could have something to look back on. But the documentary that I was going to do is, first it was going to be called Pelham Fritz: The Last Stop.
And it was.
Right.
It was the last time.
You went to the young lady out there said you went to Northwestern.
She's trying. No. She's trying to interview a guy from Denton, Texas. I went to school 30 miles from Denton Junior College, which is Cook County Junior College. She just asked me about Kilgore. That year when Kilgore, Tyler, Sanderson, we won the championship. We beat everybody.
You could have said that on the mic, Pa. It's okay, Mike.
Say what?
You can say that on the mic.
Played Indiana and then did the movie about you on that team.
No, that was
You talking about
those the dudes from the Willie Wordsworth.
Oh, Texas.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Texas. Willie Wordsworth.
Yeah.
The team that beat
Texas El
Kentucky.
Paso.
Texas El Paso.
UTEP.
UTEP. You do?
Yeah. So what I want to
Kenny
do right
Spade's
now.
brother.
Worsley's the one that got us in. By the way, Zach went to Willie Worsley because Willie Worsley was the athletic director of Harlem Square Garden, and Zach got us in. That's how we got in Harlem Square Garden. Willie Worsley put us in.
Yeah.
Well,
Shout out to Big Willie.
shout out to Big Will.
Who ain't that big, but shout out. He's big in
But
other ways.
when we was doing the summer thing, he let me run it that year. Or 2
Okay,
years,
okay.
So, but that's history, man.
Yeah.
Him, Neville Shedd, and the list goes on and on.
First
What
play
I-
of that game.
what-
Here, let me get this in. First play of that game, Willie Worsley brings the ball up. NCAA championship. UTEP versus Kentucky.
Kentucky. Pat Riley.
Right.
Who dunked on him?
Shit. I think, right? Wasn't Willie, was it?
Oh,
Wasn't Willie.
no. The
Who?
pass.
Yeah, alley-oop somebody.
Alley-oop.
To-
Throw it down his back.
Right. The Shaq guy came over to came over to the league a couple of times too. I was impressed that he came over there. It was big.
Well, I knew him. My friend here, Al, and I worked for an agency where his parents were part of our agency.
Oh wow.
I can't go into it, but yeah, Neville Shedd, San Antonio, and when he came up here, his mother was very sick, so we.
Oh.
But go ahead, Charlie. I'm sorry. I want you to finish
they-
your point.
They said the brothers was out there playing like monkeys. The great Adolph Rupp.
Let's take it to your nose of it.
Coach Riley. Coach Riley, you remember?
Yeah.
But that day when they beat Kentucky, they was Mandingo Warriors.
Yes. Or Jedi Warriors. Mandingo Jedi Warriors.
They were battling
like
now.
all of that.
That's right.
Redonda. What's that?
Well, the funny thing about basketball, it is almost like being in a Jedi war because all the things that's going on the court that's simultaneously with the reps and the scouting reports and the competition and the back and forth and the physics and the geometry of the ball and all that stuff. And just how focused you got to
It's
be.
a science to
And
it.
your brain is working much faster than it. Most people say your brain is working faster than it does in ordinary time, and you don't notice that until when you're not playing.
Yeah.
And you go, whoa, because you be doing stuff that you could not think about on the court. You don't even have enough time to think about it, and boom,
A reaction.
yeah.
Let's just end it on this note because I know they want
Okay.
to come in.
That's beautiful.
And I think that
Hey Dave, maybe you guys, we'll get Downham and others.
I'm not-
and we'll come back and do this shit again
Well,
and
we'll-
bring them in. And you have an open invitation to do that.
and I appreciate that.
Okay, you're
I
welcome.
appreciate
Thank you,
that.
man.
And we can do that.
You-
And I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Anytime you want to, because I got the keys. I got the keys to the gym, Charlie.
Oh, man.
I got the keys to the gym, Dave. Go, Dave.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Basketball is one thing, but the Pellifers Basketball League, a lot of people thought that it was just the greatest players in the world coming together to stay in shape and compete. But the bigger picture of the Pellifers Basketball League was the creation of the scholarship program. And you could correct me if I'm wrong, it impacted the community. I interviewed Darryl Downing when he started it, and he told me stories like whether somebody gave a nickel, a dime, a dollar, or whatever, he still sent them a thank you letter. It wasn't the ones that sent $100 or $500, but what I want you to talk about, Doug, is there was a part of the scholarship program, and I hope this is not too emotional for you and sensitive. You guys started a part of the scholarship program called Touched by an Angel, and
Yeah, Dow came up with that name, actually.
I know.
Well, after
Well, he gave you the credit. Now you're giving him the credit.
Well, he came
so-
up with that name. What happened was my mother died.
Correct.
And that's how I got in the
Yes.
league. I hadn't played in in the 4 or 5 years, and one of my sisters said, "You're getting fat. You don't play no more." and we went to the draft and all that. And, and when my mother died, I remember that I thought maybe if we had something to honor that.
Yes.
And I went to Darryl because I thought that we should make it mandatory that everybody who contributed to the league, we would take the money out of everybody's little dues or whatever to do that. And nobody wanted to do it, so I went and got Darryl he helped me buffalo the shit through.
And enforce it.
And he did.
Absolutely.
And we got in there and we made everybody. That's why I wish Lenny came because Lenny was against it. And when we went in the meeting and Darryl, I think he put Lenny in a headlock because Lenny was the deciding vote.
Well, I thought
Darryl
he was-
headlocked his ass.
I thought he was
in the
gonna-
meeting.
We was at 135th the other day. We ran into Lenny. I thought he was going to put him in a headlock there.
He headlocked his ass in the meeting, because Darryl, I had to promise Darryl some squeezins, some money for some squeezins, because Darryl loved the squeezins. In case big shout out to Big Darryl in case he's watching this.
My man.
And I made, and we got him. They got it passed through. And the best part of the whole thing was about 2 or 3 years later, because it was because remember we had the newsletter.
Ivan Donovan, that's right.
Ivan Donovan, myself, and Darryl. He picked the 2 other people. We would read all of the.
I remember.
all of the things that we would get the applications. And one year they gave one to my son named Son.
Okay.
And they did it. And Darryl. And what's the one thing you got to give Darryl credit for? He put on a good show for the scholarship fund. He had a big event, and one year they did it at the Schaumburg, and he got it. My son was able to get up and get a little award from the league, and I felt so good about that. That Darryl carried the water for the whole league all that time.
That's right.
So
That's
whatever nonsense I would bother him about, he carried the league. He carried the scholarship fund by himself all the way through, and it was the most successful when he did it, and when he wasn't doing it anymore. I think they still do it. I'm not sure.
Well, what happened was I of course volunteered my services. to
Oh, you
help.
did. Thanks.
Yeah, I
Pop.
was with Darryl for 7, 8 years with
Thank
that.
you,
As
Pop.
long as he did it, I went.
Thank you,
and he
Pop.
cursed me out many times.
Well, he cursed out everybody.
the point
cursed out
is
everybody.
that when Melvin took it over, I also worked with him,
Okay, great.
and it was a different twist. Me, House,
Larry House.
God bless the guy that passed away, Laker.
Chuck Wiley.
No. Light skin. Played with the Lakers. Didn't have a game, but he was a businessman in Harlem.
Oh, yeah. I know you're talking about. I know you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, him.
Him and they was at each other's throat. But when I had worked with Melvin, I came and he let me. Well, actually, what happened was when William Hines passed away and Junior Martin had already passed away.
Junior Martin. Junior Martin.
That's what got me
The
in.
Ness.
Junior Martin. That's how you got drafted.
The Ness.
That's how I got in.
The Ness. Who's that? The Ness.
Ness.
The ref. The Ness.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Nesto.
Nesto.
That's
The one you call his house, he's always rhyming every time.
Ness. That's Nesto. That's
Ernie Morris.
Ernie Morris. Nesto.
Yeah, Ness.
Nesto. That's what we call him.
Ernie Morris. The
Ernie
Ness.
Morris.
He used to give me, not give me,
School
but he used
teacher.
to give up $2,000 or $1,000. I would put up $500, and he would let me choose the recipients for the scholarship.
Wow.
And then he would let me present it. Wow. So I'm just saying the difference.
That was a
between
beautiful
me-
thing,
Oh
man.
man, Ernie Morris, he did that for 3-4 years.
That was a beautiful
He gave
scholarship
$500 for William Hines, and he gave the other one for Junior Martin.
The funny thing that Zach, you talk about Zach, I remember one year there was some, when it first started, there was some little back and forth about things, and Zach came up with this wonderful thing that said that the league is a league of men who get together to try to do things for the community, and that thing you said earlier about getting in shape and all that, which that wasn't really true. It was really about cutthroat competition, but when it came to the scholarship fund,
right.
it was a league of men getting together to come together in the community to try to help out, and it was a beautiful thing.
It was, Doug. However, it was like pulling teeth. You were involved in the league. I became involved. Parnes became,
yeah.
but overall, the climate was always, well, those guys just come to play basketball. But we saw the bigger vision. Even when I started the Players Association with Neil and Judd. and
That was
Ricky.
interesting. I thought that was a hell of a
Quite
thing.
interesting because
That
I
was.
got tired of guys coming to me talk about why I'm not playing. What's the bylaws? How much time is he supposed to get? All right, and then it got to a point where I said, "Look, man, let me tell you something, man. You ain't playing on the level with Charlie Baldwin and Gus and Doug Frazier. Go down to Chelsea Piers, running time,
Yeah.
20-minute halves, corporate league.
I keep going to the story I got about I love it. I wish Lenny was here. Lenny, because when you don't, like Charlie knows, when you decide you ain't playing no more, a lot of people I'm sure came to you as well, Charlie, asking you to play with them, saying, when you would decide you wasn't going to play anymore. Same thing we had. Lenny came to me, and I ain't not interested. And one day, here's the funny thing. So, what's the kid that played for the Knicks? The guard. He played for the Knicks. From the Bronx, from the South, from the Mitchell Houses. Wow. Rod Strickland.
There you
So
go.
Rod Strickland played with the Orlando
Kings.
Magic. No, he played with the Orlando Magic.
Okay.
He left the league, and 3 weeks later, he's playing with the Kings with,
Right.
with Dedrick.
Right.
And so Lenny's telling me that. So Lenny comes to me and says, "Yeah, you know what, Doug?" He said, "Rod's out there. Rod Strickland's out there playing the game. He's just come out the NBA. He hasn't been out the
17
NBA.
years.
He hasn't been out the NBA 4 weeks.
That's right.
He's playing in the Pella Fritz League, and one of those guys you're talking about came over to Lenny during the game and said, "I think Rod's tired." Rod had like 60 points or something in the game.
I remember that game.
And Lenny said,
Yeah.
"I think Rod would told me what he's doing." So you're right. There was people who really, Cliff Robinson, he's the NBA champ. So these, Charlie
Smith.
Charles Smith.
Smith.
So you had these guys in there. And I always thought it was interesting. I always thought that people had unrealistic expectations. Because
That's right.
the thing that caught me about the league, even though when I got in, I was woefully out of shape. What I saw was, and I'm sure Charlie saw this, I said to myself afterwards, I said, "Well, I'm out of shape." I said, "But shit, I can still be a killer." And so I wanted to get myself in together. But what we used to always say, if you wasn't a killer before, you're not going to be one now. You're not going to be one now. People, and you had guys who had this expectation that they should be playing when, in most normal circumstances, you wasn't going to be playing a lot of minutes when you got Rod Strickland and Charlie Ball and all these kind of Gus
It was
Williams.
impossible.
It's impossible.
It was
But
impossible.
check this out. Go back to when you was a kid, and you remember when you were playing, and there were guys that weren't playing, couldn't play, and really didn't want to play. And now
They
when
want to
it's-
play.
Now they want to play because hey. Why all of a sudden you got good all of a sudden?
It wasn't
when
about
we were
good.
kids, you weren't playing, and now we are middle-aged men, but we've been still in the game and we still playing. All of a sudden, you just gonna step up to the plate and go, "I'm here."
Well, it wasn't, it was, how it is, even in, dig this, you know how it is, Charlie, even when you're in your prime, most people, I always just say this, nobody in basketball likes the coach. You could be the number one player on the team and you'll still hate the coach's ass. You could be the best player on the team, everybody hate the fucking coach. You know what I mean? For their own reason.
Well, what was our coach name? What was our coach name on the traveling team?
Right, we hated him. We hated him. I got a picture of him, yeah. Tony.
Tony.
Slickback. A pimp named Slickback.
Tony.
Everybody hated him. I mean, he was a nice guy and
He was a
everything.
good guy, but
We had a bomb team. There was no way you could like him.
And he played his role.
He did.
He stood up. He pointed his finger. He did everything he could do, but he couldn't put the right people.
Nah, he didn't know what he was
No,
doing, man.
no.
He was out of his depth. When I remember a game we playing in Philly in the championship, and Al Eford and Armstrong, whose son with the UConn,
Hilton Armstrong
Jr., who used to come to the games all the time.
From UConn.
He was almost your height when he was 14. He used to bring his son to the game and everything. And we playing in the game, and Armstrong was a great shot blocker. He was a back there anchor, and he's fighting in the game with Al Eford.
Yes.
And I remember we were in the locker room at halftime. I remember him saying, "Yo, man, why are you arguing with him when you hate his ass? Why are you arguing with him and you know you hate him?" This is we in the locker room, right? And Tony's sitting there going, "Oh, stop!" Everybody started cursing. Everybody started cursing at Tony, because we winning and we playing World and Eddie Masson on we playing Brooklyn,
Right.
Who we hated.
Of course.
We hated Brooklyn. They can't beat us. Everybody.
That's right. That's
Brooklyn
right.
can't beat. We didn't even play the game yet.
That's
They
right.
go, Brooklyn can't beat us ever. Ever.
I wanna. It's a lot of things that really
Ever.
that we need to get into, but we need to wrap it up. What time is it?
I don't know.
Two people that I really you brought up. I want to tell us what Olaf said. That was crazy. You want to tell it? But
No,
before you tell it,
You tell it.
Charlie got me an interview yesterday with Olaf,
Big Olaf.
Big Olaf.
Big old.
The supplier.
And just to end it on this note,
The supplier.
the Harlem Rennies and our friend John Isaacs,
Oh man.
Mr. Isaac.
who sat in the VIP section of the Pelham Fritz Basketball League every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
And
I got a story about it,
the two things that you guys just got finished talking about. Oh, you weren't no good at 20. What makes you think you're
Yes.
going to be good at? That was his saying.
That's right.
And Doc. Don't forget Doc.
Yeah. Oh man.
my God.
Can I say one thing about John?
Go ahead.
Playing in the game, and John sitting in his VIP thing, and we playing, and John goes, Dougie. And I'm going to myself, John Isaac knows my name. Dougie. And he's going, Dougie, bring that ball down the middle like you're supposed to. 'Cause I'm bringing the ball down the side.
Playing, okay. all
We're
right.
playing in the
Yeah.
game, and I'm bringing the ball every time down on the sidelines instead of in the middle like I'm supposed to. And he screamed at me, Dougie, what up? So somebody gets fouled, and I said, yeah, John. He said, Dougie, why you not bringing that ball down the middle? I said, John, if I bring it down the middle, I got to pass it. Basketball joke. Because you got to pass it when you're in the middle, but if you bring it down the sidelines, it was one of my tricks I learned from Charlie.
Andre, Olaf, George
Yes.
tells me yesterday the story, just to end it on this note.
Okay.
He points to Charlie. They sitting on the sofa together. And he says, I was working out. I think they about 16, 17, 18 years old maybe. And Charlie suggested that Olaf go and try out for Chick Jules team.
Oh, Chick. I remember Chick.
So he called Chick. He called Chick, and Chick said, "You want to play for my team?" He said, "Yeah, we'll play." Can you jump like Willie Mangum? Yes. Can you rebound like Willie Mangum? Right?
Earl Manigault.
Earl Manigault.
That little dude.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then he said the last was $64,000 question. He says, "Can you shoot like Joe Habit?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Well, yeah." Chick said, "Well, man, you better come on up here, man." Lying his ass off.
Well, he could shoot like Joe. He could. I'm talking about Charlie, right?
I'm talking about Olaf.
Olaf.
This was Chick said to Olaf.
That's right.
Wow.
Guys, thank you very much. I enjoyed
Wow.
this, and we're going to continue.
Please, yes,
This is
listen.
Al Fletchman, thank you very much.
Yes,
Doug
sir.
Frazier,
Thank
thank
Big
you very
Al,
much.
thank you, Al.
And Charlie Baldwin, I appreciate you, man.
Thank
Enough
you, Chuck.
said.
Chuck Love, thank you, man. And we hope you guys can come back again. And let's do this shit again, man. We hope y'all could come back, man.
We will.
And let's bring some of the other, because there's a lot of stories.
That's
Oh, yeah.
that's
Locker
what
room shit. We got,
Let's do it, Doug.
Okay. All right. Thank you, man.
Peace.
All right. Peace. Yeah. So that was the big boys. The big boys was in the house, and we're gonna go and. Okay. So we're getting ready for the next group, but while we disassemble the assembly.